So one of the most annoying things that you might have to do in further math is smoothing data sets using means, and even values for moving means in particular can be very annoying. So I'm just going to first refresh on how we move means for odd data sets and then even data sets. So what you'll tend to see is things like this, here's a time series data set. It's got quarter numbers or month numbers or whatever it is, and then a series of values, and you might be doing, say, 3 mean smoothing. So typically what you do at first is you take the first 3 points, 7, 12, 15, and you take the average of those, you find their mean, and you get 11.33, and it sits right there next to the 12. Now the reason it sits there next to 12 is implicitly what we did, but we didn't think about it, was we also took the average of the quarter numbers, 1, 2, and 3. Now the average of 1, 2, and 3 is exactly 2. So it didn't seem like we did anything special there. So we continue on and we slide our bar down and we take the mean of the next 3. We get 13.3, and implicitly again, we did it on the left-hand side. The average of 2, 3, and 4 was 3. And so you keep on moving down the page, sliding the mean box down all the time, taking the next 3 and the next 3, and you get your final mean smooth set. And the points 11.333, 13.333, 13.333, and 14 line up with 2, 3, 4, and 5. They line up really neatly. And so that's your smooth data set. And the same thing happens when you do 5s, except we just expand it out. Now notice that because we're taking 5, we have to take more, which means we actually lose 2 spots at the top because we can't get any information up there. So we take the average of those 5, we get 12, and we did the same thing implicitly here. Average of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 happen to be 3. And everything's nice and neat. We just sort of slide down the page and everything slots in very nicely. And everything's very happy. Now 5 means you've got less data points there because we're losing 2 off the ends. The problem happens when we get to even sets. So now if I take an average of the first 2, so I'm doing a 2 mean smoothing now. If I take the average of the first 2, 7 and 12, I get 9.5. But what I did implicitly on the quarters was I took an average of 1 and 2, which is 1.5. And it doesn't actually sit nicely anywhere. So I've got both these boxes in red, and you'll see that they're just sort of off kilt a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to slide down, take the average of the next 2, 13.5. Take the average of the next 2 quarters, average of 2 and 3 is 2.5. And again, it's not sitting right on top of where I want it to sit. It's sort of off a little bit. And so I keep on sliding all the way down the page, and I do this, and I keep getting things that are just slightly off where they're supposed to be. So what I want to do from here is I want to get everything what's called centered. So back on alignment. So I'm going to move up to this 9.5, 13.5. And I'm going to take an average of those 2 to get 11.5. And it's sitting right in the spot because if I move up to the average of 1.5 and 2.5, I get 2 exactly. So I'm back on the line now. So I move down 13.5, 14.5, and I move down 2.5, 3.5, and I'll line up again perfectly. So this is the process called centering. Okay, this is what centering is all about. First time through we did meaning, now we're doing centering. And I keep on sliding down, and each time I line back up with where I need to be. Gives me something that looks like this. And so I still lose values at the top and bottom because of the way that meaning works, taking the means work. But now I've had to do an extra layer to get back on center. Now if I do it for 4 means, same deal, except I'm taking 4 at a time, it's still going to be off. It's still going to sit uncomfortably in the middle of 2 sets. And so I've still got to go through the same process, sliding down one every time, sliding down one every time, getting that off value. I'm going to get down to the bottom. Now, importantly, what I'm going to do here, even though I did 4 mean smoothing, when I center, I only center for 2 at a time. I don't center for 4, I only center for 2. It's the same with any even smooth set. You're only centering for 2. So we did 4s to get the smooth values, now we're centering off 2 to get 14, and same on the quarter side, I'm centering there for 2 as well, sliding down one more, and sliding down again to get a final result. So hopefully that helped you with even smoothing. And it's a tricky concept, I know. It's hard to keep track of everything, but you've just got to sort of do these 2 layers here and think about how things fit in the gaps.